Welcome to Gulf South Outdoors. Growing up, I had an opportunity to form a relationship with my dad that might not have happened if I was more interested in watching TV or just hanging out inside on my phone. By being on the boat fishing, I had a chance to spend quality time with him, learning valuable lessons while developing a love and passion for the outdoors. This is something we both place great importance on, as does Richard Parker with Basstactix, who shares our vision of helping others find their outdoors.
I'm Richard Parker. We're here with the Basstactix Youth Fishing Program. I am the director. We got a lot of exciting news for you. We got a lot of kids on the water. Basstactix is our youth fishing program here in Mississippi. Once again, we have kids from Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee that compete inside the Basstactix with the Basstactix Youth Fishing and the Legacy program that we run together. These kids are anywhere from 5 to 18 years old, still in school, homeschool, private school, public school. But these kids are really excited to be on the water and ready to catch some fish. In this program, we have different levels of fishing with these kids, some just starting today for the very first time, some of them coaches. These coaches have been on the water for the very first time today. These kids range from, like I say, from 5 to 18 years old. Some of these kids are very novice at the sport. They really don't even know how to rig a bait, but with the guidance of the coaches, and that's why we have them in a boat, and other pros and semi-pros on the circuit, we teach these kids. And some of these kids, they come in here with a lot of experience. They're going to be really hard to beat today, and you will see that when the scales come. The Basstactix started, like I say, 2 years ago, and the Basstactix program, it's a level of competition for every kid, no matter whether just starting out or they at the level to be able to, ready to start to compete in the college programs. Right now in the United States, there's probably over 200 colleges and universities throughout the United States that has college fishing programs. These college fishing programs allow these kids to earn a scholarship, full scholarships, and partial scholarships. So there's a lot of opportunities for them to advance to a more technical part of this fishing program.
Most schools have athletic programs that include football, baseball, basketball, and even soccer. Kids involved in these programs not only enjoy notoriety, but gain an edge in being accepted into the college of their choice, along with the possibility of winning scholarships. But what about the kids that don't want to or can't participate in these common sports? What about them? Well, you'll find out when we come back. So Richard Parker formed Basstactix specifically to give those kids a chance to excel in a different arena, bass fishing. Now Richard is no stranger to bass fishing. He's a pro staff angler with several companies and has been to national competition 6 times. And now he's here to tell us what he has to offer for the kids who can't or just don't want to play conventional competition sports.
In the bass fishing program, these kids, although they don't play other sports, they don't play football, they don't play baseball, which some do, but a lot of these kids prefer the fishing program. And also in this, you really have to be physically fit to be able to stay out in the sun all day, to be able to compete day in and day out in these championships. These kids really have to be tough, they have to be mentally strong. So there's a lot of physical activity that these kids, they work out, they practice day in and day out, whether they're at the ponds or at the lakes, or whether they're actually in these events. They really have to be physically and mentally stable and strong to succeed in this program. One thing that has really took me by surprise with the Basstactix and the whole high school fishing program is when we started here in Mississippi 4 years ago, there was 0 kids. We had a lot of kids interested in a fishing program, whether it was with the high school or in the community. We had 96 kids show up at the first event 5 months later. After those 96, we have grown to 400 plus kids. And that's been a really surprise to me. And the other surprise is that the communities and the sponsors and the schools that have really came on board and stands behind these kids to reinforce their dream of another sport that they can compete, that compares to football or baseball and any other sport that they're not able to play or have no interest. For example, Isaac Duncan from North Pike High School earned a scholarship with Bethel University. These kids earn sponsorships, and the way these kids earn these sponsorships is they showcasing their talent. They use social media, they use the newspaper, all different venues, and to showcase a product from a potential sponsor. Once these kids earn this sponsorship, then they continue to work through social media, newspapers, television, as well as outdoor events. They will go and work at the booths for these sponsors, day in and day out at like the Classic and the Forest Wood Cup. They go and they prove themselves to these sponsors. So when they do reach that peak level in college, or maybe as a professional or pro staff angler, they have the experience above and beyond people that have not experienced this high school Basstactix trail.
So it's not just about casting a line and getting a scholarship. Sure, you have to catch fish and learn to be competitive, but there's also more, like community service, and there's lots of ways to serve. You may recall our Kids Outdoors Bass Tournament, where high school kids teamed up with special needs kids for a fun day of fishing. We'll be right back with more. So with Basstactix, kids of all ages ranging from those who have never fished to those who are quite experienced have a chance to become involved in the outdoor sport of bass fishing and be recognized as a member of an established program. In the 2 years since it was formed, Basstactix has rapidly grown into a successful organization. This past year, they hosted 9 tournaments involving over 300 kids from 5 different states. Now let's get back with Richard.
Our coaches will team up with the Kids Outdoors, which these kids from all over the country. They're special needs kids. Our coaches, they are very talented people when it comes to fishing. So we're going to take these kids outdoors, use our coaches to lead these kids and show these kids a good time, the love for kids and the love for outdoors, and get these kids some enjoyment. Also in 2017-2018 season with Basstactix, we had 5 major events coming up. And during these major events, these kids are going to have the opportunity to fish lakes like the Ross Barnett Reservoir in Jackson, Mississippi, which averages about a 16-pound bag per tournament weigh-in for the winners. Then we go into the Columbus Pool. We're going to the Great Pickwick Lake, where a lot of professionals, as well as these high school kids, they bring in a lot of weight a lot of weight to the scales, and that is going to be a very exciting time. Also in 2018, we've implemented the coach program where these coaches are allowed to fish with these kids. Now, day in and day out, they teach them just like a baseball coach or a football coach or soccer coach or any other coach in a program. These coaches are able to teach the kids. Then in 2 of our events, they are going to be able to show the kids how they themselves can catch fish and weigh in and win in the Basstactix program, which is going to be really exciting because we have a lot of good coaches out there that their backgrounds are bass fishing, and this is going to be an exciting time to showcase the coaches' ability to catch a bass. For more information on Basstactix and our mission in the community and with these kids, you can contact us at www.basstactixmshs.com or on the Facebook at Richard Parker Bass Tactics.
What an awesome organization. And stay tuned because later in the show we're going to have more with Basstactix. But when we come back, it's time for GSO's Clip of the Week. Stay tuned. When Amber Upton heard horns knocking and rustling in the leaves, she figured it was likely to be a couple of bucks fighting. And she was right. 2 fallow bucks had locked horns and were fighting to the extreme. She could hardly believe her eyes. After 15 minutes, the white fallow appeared to be tiring, and she became worried that one would get killed. A few days later, she spotted circling vultures and found the carcass of the spotted white fallow deer.
Go there, see if we can break them off. Let's drive and see if we can get.
Great clip. For your chance at Clip of the Week, send your video to gulfsouthoutdoors@gmail.com. And for the Basstactix anglers, send us your video for a chance to be on the Clip of the Week or in another episode of GSO. When we come back from the catch to the kitchen, it's time for Hookin' and Cook It. Stay tuned.
I'm David Crabtree, Executive Chef at Island View Casino in Gulfport, Mississippi. Today I'm going to be working with some freshwater bass, which was one of my favorite kind of fish to catch. There's nothing more exciting than seeing a topwater lure get exploded on by a big mouth bass. The dish I decided to make today, bass tends to be a very delicate fish, so I wanted to make a summer dish, something light, something with some vegetables in it. So it's something that I've made a few times for my wife, Mary Louise. We try to catch them out of our pond and we cook them and clean them and make it right away. But it's a, like I said, a summer dish. It's a lighter dish. Basically, we saute off the fish and make a pan sauce. We add asparagus tips to the saute pan, a little wine, a little lemon juice, some watermelon vodka, kind of bring out that summer flavor. Then we use some fresh herbs, basil, thyme, a little chervil. Take your fish fillets, and we're going to lightly flour them, and they're going to go right into the pan. The largemouth bass is a very delicate fish, so I wanted to do something that was light and colorful, but yet something that complemented the fish. It's, like I said, largemouth bass is a pretty delicate piece of fish. So what we're going to do is basically brown the fish on both sides. Then as the fish starts to cook, we want to start adding our vegetables to it. We're going to make a pan sauce. So we've got a little shallots, got a little roasted garlic, trying to do is build the drippings in the pan to make a nice pan sauce. We're going to go ahead and add our vegetables to it. So after the fish is sauteed, we add a little lemon juice to it and work it into a pan sauce. And today I served it over a bed of wilted spinach, a little lemon juice to glaze the pan. I'm going to use a little bit of Smirnoff watermelon vodka. While that's sauteing down, I'm going to put a little spinach in the pan. Do a little wilted spinach on the plate. Start building it onto the plates over here. A bit of spinach. All right, what we have here is what I'm going to call a sauteed big mouth bass Louise. I call it Louise because that's my wife's name and she loves this dish. We've caught it a few times in our pond and we cook it at the house and she loves it. She's not real fond of the largemouth bass part of the name, but that's what it is.
As we close the show, here's some video of the Basstactix tournament weigh-in and awards. And for more information on Basstactix, visit their website or their Facebook page. See you next week.
Oh.